Him. That's a lie. It's totally a lie. All right. As we discussed right before we left for lunch, there's not a whole lot that I can cover about medical terminology, so this lecture itself is going to be fairly short. Once we're done with the lecture, we are going to turn the camera off. We're going to play a game with some of the words that are inside your Chapter 5 chapter. So I hope you read before you came to class so that you can earn some extra credit. Okay, when we talk about medical terminology, why is it important to understand what medical terminology is and how to use it?
If you're conveying the patient complaint or history or whatever, or in your PCR, and you use the wrong medical terminology, then you're going to give the wrong picture to whoever's reading it, or you're transferring care, or that. Or if you don't understand it and somebody is telling you the things about them, then you may assume the wrong things, basically.
Okay, good. It's a really good explanation of why. For example, what's the difference between dysphagia and dysphagia?
I don't know.
You don't know. Would you know if I wrote it down?
Difficulty speaking and eating.
Swallowing. Yeah. Yeah. Good. When I said it to you, you couldn't tell the difference. I needed some context around it, right? But when you see it, when you read it, you can tell the difference. What about ilium and ilium?
Bone in the pelvis, and I don't know the other one.
Part of your digestive system.
You're speaking the language of a science.
Yeah. So let's break it down a little bit. We're going to break it down into its anatomy. Anatomy of a medical term. There are 4 parts to a medical term. What's the first part?
The prefix.
Okay, we have a prefix. What is a prefix?
That which comes before.
It comes before the root word. In our term, dysphagia, which part of that is our prefix?
Yes.
Dys. So if we were to look at it by itself, it would look like this. And what does it mean? What does dys mean?
Difficulty.
It means difficult. Yeah. Okay. We have our root word. What is the root word?
The actual
The meaning of it?
foundational word. I don't know. The actual word itself. Yes, I know.
It's the foundational word. In this particular word, what is our root word?
Phasia. Phage.
And then you have a combining vowel, which we'll get to the combining vowel in a minute. Okay, then we have our suffix, and our suffix is what occurs after the root word. Okay, and in this word, what is our suffix? Is it just or is it ia?
Isn't it A? I don't know.
If we don't use ia, what are we going to use? What are we going to call that I?
Combining vowel.
It's going to be our combining vowel. So, if we were to do our root word with its combining vowel, that's what it would look like. When you look at medical terminology and you look in your book, you're going to be able to tell what a prefix, a suffix, the root, and the combining vowel are just by how they look in the textbook. Our combining vowel is there to make our transition from our root word to whatever other part a little bit easier. IA also can sometimes have its own meaning as a suffix, and not every word needs a combining vowel. Okay. So this is the anatomy of a medical term. A lot of this chapter is memorization. I like medical terminology. I might be kind of weird because of that, but I like medical terminology. That being said, everything that you deal with when you deal with the human body is based upon this position. What is this position called?
Anatomical position.
Anatomical position. So, when you're dealing with your patient, everything is based upon your patient's anatomical position. Whether you're talking about medial, lateral, superior, inferior, ventral, dorsal, anything is all based on anatomic position. So it's important that you recognize what anatomic position is. When you're talking about your patient's gut, okay, and I say right upper quadrant, I'm talking about your patient's right upper quadrant from anatomic position. What organ, what fairly large organ, is located in the right upper quadrant?
Liver.
Mostly. What?
Liver.
Liver, yeah. How about the left upper quadrant?
Stomach. Or spleen.
Spleen, yeah. Left lower quadrant?
Large intestine.
Yep, poop tube. How about your right lower quadrant?
Appendix.
Appendix. Liver, spleen, poop tube, appendix. You won't forget it. Will you forget it? I won't forget it. When we talk about flexion and extension, what is flexion?
Flexing.
Bending around towards you.
The bending of a joint. Okay? Doesn't necessarily have to be your arm, it could be your shoulders, whatever. It's the bending of the joint. How about extension?
Moving it away from you.
Yeah, relaxation of the joint. Okay? What is prone position?
On your stomach.
On your stomach. What's supine position?
On your back.
On your back. What is recovery position?
On your side.
Knees bent. Left side down.
You all are very correct. Let's combine all three of them.
Knees bent, left side, on your side.
Yep. Why do we say left side?
Your heart.
Because it is the left side.
Because it is the left side. But does it matter if you lay your patient on the right side or the left side?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Position of the heart.
And if you don't always do the left side, I guess. If there's if they have something stabbing out of their left side, you're obviously
You're
not
not
going
going to put them
to
on the
their
left side. Right. There's actually a reason that we do prefer the left side, and it's mostly for pregnant women. If you lay a pregnant woman on their back, or even on their right side, you apply pressure to their inferior vena cava. And that pressure on their inferior vena cava can cause a decreased return in blood to their heart. So we prefer to lay them on their left side to help get some of that pressure off that inferior vena cava. Okay? All right. What about Fowler position?
Sitting up with kind of knees bent. On your back, knees up.
Fowler position is sitting up with your knees bent. On your back with your
Sitting
knees
up,
up
right.
is semi-Fowler position.
Semi-reclined.
Yep. Okay. What is the apex of a surface?
The tip.
It's the tip. Does the tip have to be the top?
No.
No. The apex of the heart, my heart, I'll find a red. The apex of the heart, if we draw our heart, is right here. Yeah? Where's the apex of our lungs?
Bottom.
Is it the bottom?
No, the top, I guess.
This is the apex of our lungs,
Why would the apex of the heart be at the bottom?
because that's where the point of it is.
Okay.
The apex doesn't have to mean top, it means point or tip.
Okay.
Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, how about the planes of our heart, or the planes of our body? What are some of our planes?
You have the front and back,
No.
which is the
Sagittal.
posterior and anterior.
Okay.
Line.
So what's that plane called that splits the posterior and anterior portions of your body?
Medial.
Good question.
Is it the medial line? That's right.
Medial
That's right.
is left and right.
That's left and right.
Sagittal is top and bottom.
This should be in this section.
I remember a picture of it when I've read the book before, but I didn't remember it in this chapter.
Maybe it's in our human body chapter. Which is chapter 6, right?
Mhm.
Oh, that's how I explained that one. There they are. On page 180. 179 and 180. 179 is a picture and 180 is a table. Okay, so this plane that splits us from front to back is called the frontal or the coronal plane. Okay. This plane that splits us top to bottom is our transverse plane. And the planes that split us left to right are called sagittal. What is the name of the plane? There's a special name for the plane that splits us exactly in half, left to right.
Midline.
Midline.
Or mid-sagittal. Mid-sagittal, yep. All right, let's see. What else can we cover in chapter 5? How about making the word plural? How do we make a word plural?
Depends on the word.
Pardon?
It depends on the word.
It depends on the word. So there's a couple of rules for making a word plural. First, a singular word that ends in A, you change to AE when you make it plural. For example, vertebra
To vertebrae.
becomes vertebrae. Okay. Singular words that end in IS change to ES. Diagnosis becomes diagnoses. Singular words that end in EX or IX we're going to change it to ICES. So apex becomes apices. If it ends in OM, ON, or UM, you're going to change it to A. So ovum becomes ova. And then lastly, singular words that end in US, you're going to change to I. So bronchus becomes bronchi. In some cases, we use the plural way more than we use a singular. I don't know how many times I said bronchi, and the only time I say bronchus is if I'm talking about the right and left main stem. I use bronchi fairly regularly. Okay. I don't think I've ever used the word apices. It doesn't even sound right to me. I do use vertebra and vertebrae. I wonder if this would be easier to see if I made these different colors. That looked like toes. Maybe that'll be easier for the people who are someday watching this video to see. All right. Questions about root words, prefixes, suffixes, combining vowels, plurals, any of that? There's a huge long list of words in chapter 5. I suggest that you use your workbook for this chapter. I'm not going to collect your workbook, it's completely up to you, but my suggestion is that you use it. Okay?